Right, in today's video, I'll provide the explanations for the homework questions from assignment 1.1. Basically, there are only two questions that you may face problem, question 6 and 9. For the other questions, I have confidence that you're able to manage them. Right, let's look at question 6. So you're given a function and you're asked to show that this function, the maximum value of this function is 2, right? For all real values of x, right? So let's try to explain every parts of it. So you're given a functions, right? And it's a quadratic function, x squared minus 2x plus 3. So this is a quadratic function. And you're supposed to show that the maximum value of fx is 2 for all real values of x. So all real values of x means x can take in any value, right? You can just substitute x to be any values into your function. And what comes out is such that the maximum value of your fx must be 2. All right. So the key word here is we are talking about maximum value. Right. So the questions you have to ask yourself is that, go back to this function. What sort of form? Okay, this is a quadratic function. Quadratic function can actually be expressed in several forms, right? It can be expressed as the intercept form, can be just a form like that, only x squared minus 2x plus 3. It can also be factorized in the a completed square form. So which format will be able to allow you or able to help you to find the maximum value of fx? So if you can answer the questions, you should be able to do this. Yes, so if your function is in the format, is in a completed, right, this is called completed square form, right, then you'll be able to find the maximum or the minimum value, right? So with this idea, what we need to do is we need to factorize your fx by applying completing the square method. Right, so we are very lucky. Why are we very lucky? Because the coefficients of x squared is 1. If the coefficients of x squared is 1, you can just straight away apply the method. We need to add. What is it that we need to add? We need to zoom into our x term, right? Take the coefficients, divide by 2, square it, add it, and then take it away, right, and plus 3. So this guy here will collapse into x minus 1 squared. Right, where do you get minus 1? Minus 1 is from here. Negative 1 is from there. And this, you can just use your calculator to work it out. Right, when you use a calculator, be careful. You have to press negative first, followed by bracket, negative 2 over 2, close bracket squared, then plus 3. Right, and that will gives you positive 2. All right. Okay. So we have to do some explanation. When you say show that, means you're just explain. Showing something is just that you just work it out and explain, right? So from the completed square form, right, we can start off by saying for all real values of x, right, x squared will be always positive. So x minus 1 squared will also be always positive. And if we were to add a 2 to the inequality, right, this is what you get. And then we're going to replace your left-hand side with fx. Okay, we're going to replace, because your fx it's equals to your x squared minus 2x plus 3, which is equals to this completed form. So therefore, my fx is greater or equal than 2. Can you see? So from there, can you see that it actually, what we have arrived at what we have obtained here is exactly what the question asks us to show. Right, so all you need to do is just put a bracket beside your answer and say shown. And that's it. That's how you solve the questions. Okay, simple. Right, so in question 9, we are asked to solve a quadratic equation. Okay, so now we are actually solving a quadratic equation. It's no longer an expression or a function. Just now what we're given earlier on in the earlier slide, in question 6, we're given a function, right? And basically it's an expression, so we factorize it. Here we are given an equation. And the question requires us to use 3 different methods to solve it. You can solve it using factorization, which is your cross method, or completing the square we have just learned, or the quadratic formula. All right, and from there you're supposed to compare the 3 methods and write down the reason for your preferred method. All right, so let's look at the first method. So this one here, we can use the cross. All right, arrange it properly. 3x squared first, followed by negative 8, followed by negative 10x. What are the factors of negative 8? You can have 2 and 4, 4 and 2, 1 and 8. So you have to do trial and error a bit. All right, so let's check. Okay, so 3x times 3x times x will give you 3x squared. That's fine. 2 times negative 4 gives you negative 8. We are correct. 2x minus 12x will give you negative 10x. Correct. Okay, so what are the linear factors? So this will be your first linear factors. This will be your second linear factors. So we end up getting bracket 3x plus 2, x minus 4 equals to 0. So here we can put the next step will be applying the AB product rule. So that will be 3x plus 2 equals to 0, or x minus 4 equals to 0. 3x, you take negative 2, minus 2 on both sides, divide by 3 on both sides. So this is one answer, and this is the second answer. All right, so this is how you solve it using cross method. All right. Right, so the second method that we are going to use is completing the square. Using completing the square to solve a quadratic equation is much easier than factorizing it. Right, so to complete the square, remember we just need these 2 terms, the x squared and the x term. So I'm just going to add 8 on both sides, so that I will bring the negative 8 to my right hand side. Okay, right, and bear in mind that to apply completing the square, the coefficients of x squared must be 1. So if you look at it now, it's not 1, it's actually 3. So how do I make it to be 1? I would have to divide every term by 3. Okay, so from there I'll end up getting x squared, then minus 10x over 3 equals to 8 over 3. Alright, so 10x over 3, right, I'm going to write it as 10x over 3 is just 10 times x over 3 times 1. Alright, so I'm just going to write it as 10 over 3x. Okay, so I will have x squared minus 10 over 3x equals to 8 over 3. Right, so I need to complete the square for this guy. So I have to add. I have to go look at the coefficients of x, which is, be very careful. Sometimes it may be positive or negative. Here it's negative. So I need to add negative 10 over 3 divided by 2. Negative 10 over 3 divided by 2. So if you use your calculator, negative 10 over 3 divided by 2, that will just give you, what will that give you? Negative 10 over 6, that will give you negative, wait, I don't have a calculator with me. So negative 10 over 3 divided by 2, that will give you negative 10 over 3 times half, 10 over 6, negative 5 over 3. So you can just easily use a calculator to help you, okay? You seriously don't need to, especially early in the morning, can't really think that well. Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is equation. So the good things about the equation is that if you add something on the right hand side, all you need to do is just also add the same thing. If you add something on the left hand side, all you need to do is just add the same thing on the right hand side. So this part here is slightly different from factorization. I have a video earlier on the differences between factorization and solving a equation. So please go and take a look at that video, okay, if you don't quite get what I'm saying. Right, so this guy here, I can make it a complete square. That will give me x minus 5 over 3 squared. And this, you can use your calculator to work this out. And wait, I don't have a calculator, so I just have to do it manually. So to do it manually, that will be 8 over 3 plus 25 over 9. So that will be 24 plus 25 over 9 gives you 49 over 9. Alright, so this will give me 49 over 9, right? Okay, so I would expect two answers, right? Because it is something squared. Okay, just a recap. If you have forgotten, if I have a squared equals to 9, right? So the possible values of a can be 3, which is square root 9, positive, or it can also be negative 3, right? Because negative 3 times negative 3 also give you 9. So if you have even number here, you will possible to get two answers. So I can have 49 over 9 or negative. Alright, so let's continue. So square root 49 over 9 will just give you 7 over 3 or negative 7 over 3, right? Oh, sorry, there's no more square here already. Right, so you need to find x. So x will be 7 over 3 plus 5 over 3, one answer, or negative 7 over 3 plus 5 over 3, second answer. So that will give you 7 plus 5, 12. That give you 4 or negative 2/3, which is the same answer as what we have obtained using using cross method, right? But why is it that if you can use factorization using cross method, why do you want to use completing the square? Why do you need to learn to use completing the square? So this is one question that you need to answer yourself. Right, so we have come to the last method, that is applying the quadratic formula. So first of all, let's write down the quadratic formula, which is x equals to negative b positive negative square root . Right, so this plus minus will remind you that you should have two answers for the values of x. Alright, so let's write down the quadratic equation first, which is 3x squared minus 10x minus 8 equals to 0. Okay, let's compare it with your general form for quadratic equation. This is a general form. Okay, general form of a quadratic equation. So you have to remember it now. Okay, so let's do a comparison. So you can see that the values of a, if you do a comparison, the values of a is 3, values of b is negative 10. Okay, you must be very careful, look at it very carefully, and the values of c is -8. Okay, having done all this, we can now substitute into our formula. So x equals to negative bracket -10. Okay, -10 is a negative is a negative number, so you need to bracket it. So there are two answers, right? One is positive, bracket it again, -10 squared minus 4 bracket 3 bracket -8, a huge line, 2 bracket a, which is 3. Right, if you use a calculator to work this out, you should get 4. You can use the fraction symbol in the calculator. Okay, so the second answer will be x equals to negative, and you should get -2/3. Right, so you realize that all the three different methods use solve it by factorization using the cross method, copying the square quadratic form, all give you the same answer, and the answers are rational form. Right, rational form. Right, means exact value. So of course the first method will be the easiest, isn't it? Right, but why is it that if you can just solve a quadratic equation using factorization, why do you need to learn completing the square, which is more difficult? Why do you need to do quadratic formula also? Why? So if you can, so this is the questions that you need to think further before you write down the reasons for your preferred method. Because I would prefer factorization, of course, because the steps involved are easier, right? But why is it we need to learn completing the square? Why is it we need to learn quadratic formula? Okay, so think about it.